Hello and welcome back. We are continuing with this ancient short sword. So we're going to be doing the texturing of it today within 3D Coat. But before we begin, I just want to mention I noticed after I was done recording last time that the sculpt of this flipper thing, it was only sculpted on one side, and so the bake didn't exist here. So I have just gone back and I've fix that up. And as an aside, you may have noticed there's some strange bake issue here. Like there's just, there's something a little bit kind of wonky, and there's probably maybe even a few areas where that's the case. And there are some ways to fix that. For the most part, I wait to see how it looks in engine before kind of going back to the retopper room to do any tweaks, because if you do come into the retopper room and change things around, then you're going to have to rebake, which sometimes is fine, sometimes can kind of cause some problems. So box tree hide, yeah. So I'm not going to be fixing those up because I'm going to see how it looks in engine first. But yeah, I mean, if you are having problems, let me know. Unfortunately there's like a million different things that can go wrong when it comes to normal maps and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, it's been like a minute and a half and I haven't even started yet. So okay, what we're going to do first of all, because I'm going to be using Unity for this, I'm going to drop the whole thing plus all of the textures into Unity now, because it's just going to be easier to kind of update it as we go. So I've just gone to the file and export objects and textures, and so it's already got my previous settings, which is nice. So just FBX, but I will just rename this. Okay, and we're going to be using Unity. Obviously, if you're using something else, then use that. So let's see what we've got here. We've got the albedo, the metallic, normal, height, emission, and occlusion. Now for us, we're not doing anything with height, so we can just get rid of that. And occlusion, I'm going to include that in the albedo, so we don't need to bake that out separately. So we'll keep all of this stuff. I think that's fine. Alpha is alpha. So yeah, if this is the default and it's not remembering things that I've changed, then everything here is a-okay. The only other thing to mention is make sure you put it on export low poly mesh. I think the mid poly is if you're doing subdivisions or something. I'm not entirely sure, but either way, I think you kind of always want to do the low poly. Maybe I could be wrong on that. I haven't actually read those tooltips, but this is the way that I've always done it, at least. So yeah, just a quick recap, because I think I went through this. This is going, this directory here, that is going straight into my Unity project. So yeah, it's all good. So I'll just hit OK on that. And now we can just hop over to Unity and just kind of see how it looks. Okay, so here we are. We've got our textures in there. So the normal maps, we want to change those. We're not actually going to use the normal map of the blade, but might as well just change it over anyway. So yeah, now that it knows that those are normal maps. Yeah, so at the moment there isn't going to be anything in these because we haven't actually done anything. It just there's a basic color, but that's about it. So there's our model. Let's get a look at this. I'm just going to get a light down here, not that light, just a quick point light, just so I can kind of get a good read on both sides, because when I put on the normal map, that's when you might see some things going a bit strange. So let's just create a new material quickly. Now we just need to put this on everything except for the blade, because remember that has its own thing going on. So we just throw this material onto all of these, and yeah, I think that kind of looks okay. There is definitely some weird things still happening here, but one thing you can do, which sometimes works, but there's something a little strange happening here and there. I don't recommend this for everything, because sometimes there are just going to be normal map issues that you can fix, but if you're just running up against wall after wall after wall, in Unity at least, you can change the normals on the raw kind of import to calculate, and then if you set that all the way up to 180 and press apply, you can see that it fixed up some things, but we're still left with some others that are kind of not. So it's a bit, you know, hit and miss apparently. But yeah, you can see there it's kind of a bit wonky. There it's a bit wonky. But after we hit apply, it kind of fixes up a couple of things. So yeah, it's probably about as good as we're going to get it for now. Not without going back into 3D Coat and redoing tweaks. But yeah, this tutorial is not about fixing issues with the bake. So yeah, let's go straight to the texturing. Okay, so here we are, and let's see. First things first, let's go and get our reference image. So select and bring this in, and you can, you know, zoom and move. And again, this reference image is provided in the comments. So now we actually have just handy little color pickers. So this one's going to be our emissive type thing for these little glows. This is like the handle, that's I think like the bits, this is like the hilt and this other kind of orangey stuff, and then this is the color for the body. At least that's my best estimation. So yeah, we'll just say okay for now, and if you do have a color palette thing open over here as well, it doesn't seem to update. You just have to kind of let's try again actually, maybe now. Yeah, so bit strange. A little bit of a weird one, but yeah, either way, we only need kind of these things anyway. So yeah, you know, just now kind of have to just decide where to begin. And for me, the first thing I want to do is, I'm in the Vox tree thing. I don't want to be in that, I want to be in layers, that's where I want to be. We're going to hide layer 0, and you may have noticed that we have now this white stuff, and that's because from the last video we did do an ambient occlusion bake. So if I were to hide that, then we can actually see through these bits as if, you know, it was alpha. So pretty important. So what you want to do, just quickly, for the blade, if you just find the layer, that would help. Right click it and freeze the painted pixels, and now if you select your ambient occlusion layer, you can get the eraser and just get away that ambient occlusion. I mean, to be fair, you don't need ambient occlusion on the blade anyway, so you don't even need to do the freeze painted pixels. So it's just throwing it in there as a bonus little tip. You're welcome. So yeah, once that's done, Control D just to come out of that, and then yeah, that should be all good. Let's see. Probably going to work on the bolt and the bits, but yeah, I don't actually need to hide everything, so that's fine. So let's come over here to bolts, but I'm going to make a new layer for now. I'll just call it the metal, because this is what at least I think this is metal. I could be wrong. And we're just going to use, let's have a look at some smart materials that have already been made. There's definitely some metals here. Now when I click on one of these, it might try to bake the curvature, which will be fine. So yeah, there we go, because some of these smart materials require both like ambient occlusion and the curvature map, so don't worry too much if this is also happening to you. Okay, so once you have that, yeah, okay, so obviously that looks, you know, pretty weird. We need to enable normals and also the spec, well, the spec and gloss or whatever. The scale of this thing is strange. Can't quite identify what's right and what's wrong. So let's get the metal up on top, because I think it's kind of messing with... Okay, there we go. So yeah, we're really only interested in kind of what's happening on the bolt and for these bits over here. And I don't really like that, so I'm just going to have a quick kind of look through here, try and find something that I do like. But you have some usual controls here to kind of move the texture, to scale it as well. For these ones it's kind of hard to tell what's going on because the textures are usually grungy of sorts, but I think at least it's you go left to scale up and right to scale down. But Yeah, okay, so I'm probably just going to go with that one. The only thing I am going to change is the color of it. And so hopefully we go to the Smart Material Editor on the actual material that we're using. So see, it's using this one, but it's just a white texture. So if we change this to modulate and then change the color to a pure white, then what will happen is it will actually use whatever color we're using. So if I were to use, that's really annoying. Ugh, go away. Okay, the blue. Yeah, so then now the metal would be blue. So I am going to pick our color up here. So at least then, I mean, it wasn't too far away from the original, but that'll do. You can either overwrite this material or just save it as a new one. I guess for the sake of not confusing myself later, I'll just save it as a new one. Okay, and so that's gone down here. And the reason it's multicolored is because we've set it to have a modulating color, meaning it will change depending on what we decide. So the way that it just represents that is with this multicolored thing to just say, you know, you can use whatever color you want. So yeah, we'll just get the brush tool now and let's see, ignore back faces so that we can just double up a bit on this. Yeah, it's pretty nice. But you know, obviously use whatever you want. Okay, that'll do. And because we've done this as metal, I no longer need the bolt layer or the bits layer, so I can get rid of those. So next we will do the grip, and we might as well just do that on the actual grip layer that we already have. And again, we'll kind of just do something over here. We will be making our own smart material, maybe on the next one that we do, but for now might as well just use what they've got. Okay, I mean, I kind of like what's happening, but I want it a little bit shinier, and obviously we want it to be the red as well. So again, I'm just going to open up this material that we're using. So it's using maybe two colors here. Let's see, so we'll change this one to modulate, and then again set it to white. If you don't set it to white, then it won't modulate properly. So maybe also this one. Okay, seems okay. I'm not sure what this layer is doing actually. Seems to kind of be doing nothing. Even if I hide it, it does nothing. What if I change this to like some obvious color? Yeah, that color doesn't seem to exist, so that's just a completely redundant layer anyway, so I'll just get rid of that. Okay, yeah, so I do want it to be a little bit more shiny. Just a touch, and that'll probably do. So again, I'll just save that as new. Get rid of this, and on the grip, so just paint over it. That's pretty weird. I guess my trigger geometry is a bit funky, but I'm not fussed about that. It's so small that it won't ever be seen, especially if there's a character holding it. Okay, so let's move on. Let's bring back our image. I'm gonna do this kind of muted yellowy orangey kind of a thing, and I don't know why, but I get the impression that it's kind of like a stone. I'm not sure why. In fact, let me just bring over my reference material here. I kind of get this feeling from a lot of the stuff in the Zelda world. It's sort of like it's both metal and stone at the same time, which kind of makes sense because they're going for that kind of ancient vibe, and you don't want like all sort of super flashy and whatnot, but you know, still with the glows and whatnot. It's pretty solid design. But yeah, I think it's stone, and I just can't get that out of my head. So stone is kind of what I'm gonna do, but we'll just assume that it's like a magic, not super heavy stone or something. For the body itself, I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, for the other stuff, probably just maybe stone. So for this one, we'll actually create our own. So I have a custom folder here. You can just click this icon right there to just create your own folder. And so yeah, I've got some random stuff in here from some other projects, but so let's just make a new, well, before we do that, let's just make a new layer. Let's call it stone. And just to prepare slightly, let's grab our stone color. And then now we'll make a new one. So we'll press the new button. And we are given a blank smart material. And let's just move these out of the way. So immediately it's just kind of white. And I have some random image. Here it is. That I think I just found this from the internet somewhere. It's just some stone, and I used a software called Pixplant to just make it tile. So it, it's all good. I don't know where I got this from, so unfortunately I can't. I don't think, at least, that I can share it with you. But if you just search for stone or something, you'll probably just find some tiling stuff on textures.com. So go nuts. So yeah, let's use that as a color. And where was it? Okay. So yeah, use that as color. Obviously the scales kind of all over the place. We'll set this to modulate, sorry. So that's the color we want. It's a bit strong, but that's fine. Let's get our depth texture, and we'll use the same one, so we'll just use this as a normal map, which might be a bit kind of intense, so it's worth kind of bring it down. In fact, what often helps is if you start with the normal map, so I'll remove the other texture for now. So now you can actually see like the actual effect that it's having without any distractions from anything else. So yeah, I mean, we definitely want to bring that down. I want some of it there, so maybe we go, I still feel like 20 is too much, so 15 maybe. Leave it at that. Yeah, for the roughness, same thing. This is kind of going to be hard to test, I think. Okay, yeah. I mean, so I want some shine, but not much. We'll put it up there for now, and if we need to change it later, then so be it. Metalness, there isn't going to be any, I don't think. I might just drop in like a touch, just for like that extra bit of sort of strange shine. Again, I'm thinking, what is up with these sliders? Like, you move it a little bit, and then you need to be very careful and release, otherwise it just keeps kind of doing stuff. Anyway, yeah, so yeah, I'm going to add in a tiny bit of metal just because I have no idea what this material is, and a stone metal-y thing is kind of what springs to mind, even though I'm not sure such a thing exists. So yeah, we have that now. It's looking pretty dark, but what we can do is we can right click on the texture, and it brings up this, and we can just adjust the curves. So I want some of what's originally there, but I don't want it to kind of get too dark. So yeah, maybe something like that. And we'll just call this, I don't know, simple stone. And that'll do. So let's get rid of that. And we'll just, for now at least, we'll just cover the body. Sorry, not the body, the bits that actually have it. Which will also be these weird thingies that we did as well, but we need to paint those in manually. If, I was kind of saying as we were making it, but if we'd have modeled these in like ourselves, we could at least then have it as like some separate paint layer, which would be pretty handy right about now, but it is what it is, I think my normals on there are maybe a bit too strong, which is fine. You can change it just on here. So just bring that down. Yeah, that'll do. And let's actually paint in this stuff. Although now that I think about it, it seems a little too low res, which is strange. I mean, the texture is only at 1024, but So let's actually scale it just a little bit, because it could just be the actual resolution of our texture, but we are using a 2K. So let's see, is that... okay, so that's, yeah, that's better. So let's just go over this again. Okay, so back to these. I am using this brush mode for the like the depth and the pressure, just so I can get some really like small bits in there. I'll just hit the 2 key just to see if it will actually help me texture this with the AO that's there, but it's kind of the same, so I'll just carry on. Okay, that'll do for now. I did just realize that we missed the trigger. I say we, maybe you didn't, I did. So let's go to the metal. Come on now, metals. And it was this one that we'd duplicated, which wasn't there before, so it's strange ordering. So yeah, let's just put that on the metal layer. Yep, should be good. So now let's just do the blade real quick. Blade. It was at the top somewhere, wasn't it? There we go. So now with this one, we can close this. We don't need it anymore. If we were to just start trying to texture something, we're going to paint over the bits which we want as alpha. So again, this is where you would want to use the freezing option. So we'll freeze the transparent pixels, and you can't see that it hasn't, you know, like this frozen thing. There's nothing here, but that's just because there's no mesh there. It is still frozen though. You see, you can just do that. It's just there's no visual clue for you. But anyway, we don't want normals and we don't want spec. Let's choose our sword color, which I didn't include it in the color palette bit here, but you know, it's the sword. And come on now, there we go. And one thing that you probably want to do is set the standard blend here. You want to change it to use as emissive, so it will actually export correctly, and we'll just give this that blue. So yeah, Control D to just drop out of that. Let's see, wire, and that can be just anything. Just some kind of, maybe a dark color, I don't know, or light. Maybe light color would be better actually. Yeah, no, I think it would. Let's do light. In fact, I think the trigger is actually light in the reference, but we can leave it as a metal. Well, we can get rid of some of this stuff. So the flipper 1, flipper 2, we don't need anymore because we've got the stone covering them. The trigger, we did do the, yeah, we put that in the metal, so we don't need that. The wire we have on its own. The something thing, I think that was actually, yeah, that was that weird stone thing as well. Okay, so we'll get rid of that and we'll actually put this same one on it. The grip we did. The bloops, these things, we can get rid of them, we don't need them. I mean, we don't need the original layers, that's what I'm removing here. Normal map should be definitely higher up, just in case we accidentally use it for something else. Okay, yeah, so let's just fix in this thing with the stone that we had. I mean, just as I was talking about painting on the normal map, that's exactly what I did. Come on now, stone layer. Let me do this. Okay, so it's confirmed now. 3D Coat does not remember the scale that you do for these things. So yeah, let's put that there. And I guess it clips a bit through here. Okay, it's pretty cool. And then I'll make a new layer here, and I'll just call this emissive. And we'll get that color for our glowy bits, and we'll change this again to use as emissive, and we're going to fill in these bits. So let's use the round tool, and I guess it's kind of going to come up until like the lip. or rather the like the indent bit in the middle there. So yeah, something like that. Yeah, okay, so these bits will always glow no matter the lighting. So for the body, I'm not sure what to do about this yet. I'll keep it pretty simple, I guess, but maybe we'll give it a little bit of metalness. We'll get the roughness down, maybe just give it some shine. I do want to give this a little bit of texture actually, so I'm actually going to come back to my rock. The well, not the rock, sorry, the stone. And we're going to duplicate this. Okay, and then we'll edit this. Just call it simple stone 2. And let's see here. So again with the scale, maybe we make it a little bit more shinier than what we had the stone. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I just want to change our color. So yeah, maybe just something a little bit darker, and rather than like covering the whole thing, I'm going to do it kind of a bit sort of splotchy. Okay, yeah, I don't like any of these alphas, so let's go back to just a soft one, but we'll change the draw type to this, so the less pressure that I use, the kind of less opacity there will be. And I'm not sure what's going on. Why was it coming out green there? There's some really strange stuff happening right now. So yeah, let's just do some little touches, just because I don't want it to be a flat color. And you don't have to worry too much about stroking over these things because they exist on a layer above, so it's pretty good. The reason I've hidden everything else is just in case I accidentally tap on it and draw over it. So yeah, let's get this maybe a much lighter color. Okay, yeah, it should be fine. I mean, I didn't want much for this piece. It's pretty simple. So again, come back to paint objects. If you alt click on the same layer, it'll just bring everything back. Yeah, okay, so let's just throw this into the engine, and because we've already set everything up, we can just export objects and textures again, and just click OK, and everything should be fine. So yeah, back to Unity. Okay, so yeah, there's that. The metals are definitely pretty metally. The emissive could probably do with a boost, but we'll worry about that in a bit. So let's just rename that material that we made before. I'll just call that body, and then we'll make a new material. We'll call this blade, because I want to see if the alpha actually worked for it. So we'll change this to we only need it to be cut out, I guess. We'll throw the albedo down. Okay, it looks like it has worked. Pretty cool. So yeah, put that on the blade, and the only thing we want for the blade is the emission. We don't need anything else. In fact, I kind of want... No, we need to have that because it has the alpha. Okay, yes, we do need that. Yeah, pretty cool. So that's okay. So we've only got a couple of little things left to do. And really, I mean, according to the guide and the reference, it's just basically some yellow red bits. Mostly the red bits. I said yellow by accident. So yeah, let's just see. It's going to kind of be around these bits and on here. So where do we want to put this? Definitely wants to be above the stone. So we'll just call this red bits, because that's the extent of my imagination. And it is underneath the emissive, which is handy. It means that you can draw here and it won't cover that. But I'm just going to kind of come around all of these and just basically paint If you wanted to, for like straight things, you can use this mode. And then maybe if I come into orthographic, it might be a little bit easier, but yeah, just bada bing, bada boom. I think that's kind of it. The only other little thing, I'll just grab this color here that we had for the emission. It looks like, I mean, it might be too thin, but it looks like there is like a little bit that kind of comes down, follows these. So yeah, might as well just add those in. Yeah. Lastly though, I'm just going to say just darker, and let's grab this color. If you press the V key when you're hovering over something, it will grab that color. You have to be careful though, because if you have things like ambient occlusion and whatnot, it will just grab whatever color is kind of there, not rather than like the color of the layer. So it's, you know, it's the color of whatever you see. And let's just get this down just a touch, because I just want to add in just a tiny little darker bits here. Yeah, it should be fine. And I've just had an idea actually, but very lastly, I'll just call this layer where, and let's see, increase lightness a tiny little bit, and let's see, I mean this might not work, but I'm going to try and do some sort of edge stuff. So for the degree, wrong one again, so more on convex, let's see if we can, something like that. And then for the edge scattering, if you just right click here, and then we'll apply some procedural noise, change the scale, and you can kind of see as you change the scale kind of sort of what's going on, but I have a feeling that we'll also need to adjust the scale here as well. And annoyingly you don't get preview, but okay, so just kind of want something a bit scattery, but that's a bit too strong. So yeah, something like that, and might as well include some normal detail, but I'll put this, I'll just minus this by maybe like 5%. And that only works if you actually add in the, oops, wrong one, the minus yourself, because if you use the scrolls, it goes up to 200, which is crazy, but it won't let you go past 0, which means if you want an inverted one, then you have to just type it in, but that should be fine. And I'll say modulate for this, and we'll just call this just a bit of edgeware. So yeah, the color that I have now, maybe I want it just a touch lighter, and then maybe, I don't know what happens if we go full metalness on that. Actually, like the outer surface has been scratched and it's metal underneath. I'll try it. It might not look very nice, but we'll do it. So yeah, I'll save that. I just kind of want to paint this in some areas, not necessarily all of them, but I'll just kind of do a little bit here and there. Yeah, okay, that's kind of, I mean, I don't want to wreck this thing. So the last kind of thing I want to do, and I'll keep it in the same layer, but I'll disable my normal map stuff. Oh, I just realized I wasn't even painting with, okay, that explains why I wasn't seeing anything there. Oh well. Let's come to, say, stencils, and we're going to just bring back the body again. And I just want to break up some of this color, just so it's not as flat. So maybe something like that, but not so much. So let's bring our opacity down. Touch. Okay, a lot more apparently. Yeah, okay, that'll do. And so paint objects, we'll bring this back. And that's okay. I mean, if you wanted, you could just, you know, continue adding sort of wear, getting sort of changes in color, like these things, like with the stone. It's still a bit flat for my liking, but I mean, as far as the tutorial goes, I think we're probably done. So it's just one more export into Unity. Okay, things have updated. Nice, nice. And yeah. While we're here, I'll just throw on a quick, let's see, something like that, default. Ah, there we go. There's that nice bloom. Maybe a bit too strong. But yeah, so we will be doing all of the animations and the shader for the blade, you know, as it kind of comes out like the lightsaber type thing, and all of the other particle effects that come with it. So yeah, we'll be doing all of that in the next video. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.